What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for rocking with me day after day, week after week. Thank you for sending this to a friend. If you enjoy this kind of content, if you want to support, you can send me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. That's super helpful. If you feel like you are learning things and you want to learn some more about how I do astrology and how I make astrology useful, then you can check out the course that I'm going to be doing with Synchronicity University. You can choose your own tuition rate right now and for another 4 days or something like this. So make sure and check that out. That's at synchronicityuniversity.com. It's going to be a 5-week course. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Nadia Shah for putting me on. I super appreciate that. You can go to zambonifunk.com and get a reading there. You can find the music that I do. You can find merch such as this, there's so much great artwork going on. Shout out to Erica and to Earth for making such beautiful artwork for me. You can find all that at zambonifunk.com. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So this week we have, it's a very dynamic week. We've got such major stuff going on as far as aspects are concerned. So one thing that we can see here this week is, and the funny thing about it is it's kind of all happening at the same time. Like early in the week, I think on Tuesday, then like everything just kind of happens all at the one time. So we've got a Mercury Cazimi this week. This is really interesting. So, this is the first time that I've ever seen a Mercury Cazimi like this. I've been doing astrology for or forecasting astrology for like 6 years now. So that's probably like 18 Cazimis that I've probably delineated, something like this. And this is the only time that I've ever seen another planet so closely involved. So a Mercury Cazimi is Mercury in the heart of the sun. It's when Mercury and the sun are exactly conjunct, they're in the same degree. And generally, the way that I think about or talk about a Mercury Cazimi is like a special message from the king. It's like, we interrupt this broadcast so that the authority or the figurehead can say a little piece here, and it's a little bit like the fireside chats or something like this, like the idea of the king or the ruler sort of stopping and then speaking directly to you. This is a little bit the way that Mercury Cazimis like to work. Now, the thing that's interesting about this one is that it's not just Mercury and the sun together, but rather we've got Saturn here at the same time. So also in the very same degree. So we've got a triple conjunction here. We've got Sun, Mercury, and Saturn all conjunct at 9 degrees of Pisces. So I generally say a special message from the king, right? What I would probably think this time is maybe a special message from the authority, right? Saturn is a much more authoritative figure than the sun is. The sun is like more often an emperor or a figurehead, celebrities, famous faces, that sort of thing. Saturn is more manager, overseer, the one who's actually doing the job or actually taking care of the organization or making it real in some kind of way. So this feels like some kind of special message from the authority in some kind of way. But it also feels, so Saturn's job is to impede or negate or bring obstacles or challenges to things. So to see this, especially with Mercury in Pisces, Mercury is the communicator, right? Mercury is the one who wants to speak and listen and transmit information and turn raw information into things that are intelligible, comprehensible, understandable, so that you can then go on to use that information or communicate a little further or something like this, right? That's what Mercury does. Mercury is in Pisces now. This is a position which is called fall for Mercury. So this is Mercury in like the least comfortable position possible. Add a conjunction to Saturn to that, and it is still more uncomfortable for Mercury. So that means it's difficult for Mercury to do the Mercury things, difficult to do the transmissions and the communications and this kind of thing. I would expect some kind of difficulty around like communication grids or networks or something like this. This is a real good time for a power outage, for an internet outage or something like this. I think that this is especially interesting because at the same time that this is happening, this Mercury Cazimi conjunct Saturn, that then we can take a look and see, all right, so this is happening in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. What's going on with Jupiter? So Jupiter is currently in Taurus. And the Mercury Cazimi is actually applying to a sextile to Jupiter and Taurus. That looks great. Really like to see that. That can be a complementary or a supportive aspect in some kind of way. But at the same time, it's important to note that Jupiter in that moment is getting an overcoming square from Mars in Aquarius. So Mars overcoming Jupiter, making a hard aspect there, it makes it look like, so Jupiter's job is to bring joy, luck, abundance, prosperity, cooperation, expansion, all of that sort of stuff. Like, things typically want to get better when Jupiter is involved. To see, or Jupiter's job oftentimes, like the same way that Saturn's job is to say no to things, Jupiter's job is to say yes to things. So Jupiter tends to like to confirm things or affirm, say yes to whatever's going on here, right? So Jupiter is under a square from Mars in Aquarius. So we've got Mars in Aquarius. It's important to remember that Mars in Aquarius is right there with Pluto, right there with Venus. And in Aquarius, whenever we think about Aquarius, especially right now with a newly arrived Pluto, then we might think about technocratic horrors, or the fear of technocracy, or the fear of machines, or something like that, right, going on here. And Mars is generally just warlike. That's what Mars is. Mars is aggressive and passionate and inflamed and hot and all of that sort of stuff, right? So to see Mars, the wartime planet, overcoming Jupiter, looks like Jupiter honestly saying yes to the Mars things. So saying yes to more warfare, fighting, conflict, or something like this. And that at the same time as plenty disruption in communications looks like a couple of things here. One, if I were fighting a war right now, then what I would do is I would try to destroy whatever communication networks the other side has. The other thing I would probably try to do is, as part of my war-making effort, I would do what I can do to disrupt whatever narrative or understanding the other side has, right? So that can be like literally destroying communication networks or something, or power grids or something like this, right? Which is something that we have been seeing for a while up to this point, that this has been a major feature in the Russo-Ukrainian war. This is like disrupting most of what we've heard about in Israel and Gaza has been more about like disrupting the flow of goods and services coming in to the community, like humanitarian aid and this sort of thing. I would absolutely expect all of that to, like, people have been shooting at those trucks and stuff like that. Like, I would expect way more of that to be going on here. Impediments, obstacles to transportation and communication going on in order to serve the war effort, right? So this is going on in the global scale, and that is rough and gross. I don't really like the way that looks this week. It looks like it's really uncomfortable, and it looks like it wants to be destructive in some kind of capacity. Remember that we've got Jupiter saying yes to Mars in some kind of way. So we can expect the Mars things to be, like what I thought about when I was thinking about this last night, I was like, this kind of looks like the bad guys went in here. You know what I mean? It's super strong Saturn. It's like there's a special message from the king, but Saturn kind of elbows the king out the way. And it's like, I'm going to tell you about Saturn things, which are generally going to be a bummer or saying no to something, right? And then at the same time as that, then we've got a bunch of Mars all over the Jupiter. So Jupiter tends to try to help things out. Also, there's a whole bunch of Mars on top of the Venus stuff. So Venus wants to cooperate, harmonize, bring peace-loving dynamics or something like this. And Mars all over that is just going to bring heat and passion and a willingness to fire over it, right? So it looks like a lot of this kind of drama going on. Now, if you were really conniving about it, then this might present an opportunity, because we can see some major disruptions that want to take place here, right? This might present an opportunity for, as things are disrupted, then that means that they're not going in the direction that is conventional or traditionally understood or something like this, right? So in that moment, there's an opportunity to move things in a direction that you might like, that might be contrary to what is conventional or traditional or something like that, that might not have been possible without this kind of disruption. So there is a little bit of a moment here where some discomfort can bring us in a new direction, and perhaps a new direction could be something better than what we've had so far, especially if we are the kind of people who want to bring joy and prosperity to the others in our lives. Something to think about. Check out ZamboniFong.com.